And welcome back. In this video I'm going to be showing how I created the roll cage, the roll bar. As you see here, it has you start out by putting each of the quarters together onto the frame to then rivet the centerpiece, and it has you do that so everything is aligned properly. Once you get a couple of these rivets in, you can take it off the airframe, but I just found it easier to do it all in place. So you'll do the forward half of the roll cage, and then you'll repeat the same process for the aft face of the roll cage. And as you see here, everything's complete. Take it off, and then the next thing is just putting the two halves together. To do that, you've got these two metal strips, and the instructions actually have you direct you to do what I'm doing here, and that you take it and you kind of roll it over the edge of the table, and that's to help minimize crinking, putting a crimp in it and creating a sharp bend. So you just want to kind of roll it to create that bend, and the only reason you're doing this is to pre-form it to make it easier to put it in place like you saw me doing there. Now on the upper half, this one that you see me working here, you do have to be aware that there is a forward end. One of the sides at the very top center has 6 holes across the span, and the aft end has 4 holes. And the reason that's there is because the support that goes from the roll bar back to the top skin at the baggage door area there, it rivets in place there with 6 rivets. So you just pay attention to what you're doing there. I had to turn mine around. I almost put it in backwards. Aside from that, the rest of this just goes together as just a simple clecoing everything in place like you see here. And then now all you're going to do is upsize everything to a size 30. So one of the issues that I had is some of the holes on the inner track didn't quite line up, no matter how I started my clecos, whether it's from the center where you see me working now and working my way out to the ends, or from one end to the other. It just didn't seem to matter. Some of the holes just didn't line up, but they were not off enough to make that much of a difference because you're just upsizing it all to a size 30 anyway. Then again, just like everything else, take everything apart, deburr everything. If you want to prime the inside, this is the chance to do it. Again, for priming, all I do is typically I've been doing just the mating surfaces. In the wings, it was the ribs where they contact the skin. Here, it's just the side of the metal strap that is attached to the or to the frame itself, to the roll cage. The inside, it's just exposed to air. I'm not too exposed or too worried about it, so I'm only doing the mating surfaces for most cases. Now, the exterior of this, obviously, I will paint to match the rest of the interior of the airplane. Now what you see me here is finally putting everything together. I'm going to be riveting the two halves together finally. The instructions have you make sure that it's on a flat surface so it doesn't have a twist or anything like that. This strip that you see me putting on here is just a doubler on the aft half of the roll cage, and that's for where I believe where the window will mount. But the instructions do talk about having a flat surface so you don't have a twist. And so when I created these tables, I actually used a hardwood plywood. I forget which type it is, but I did make sure that I got a hardwood plywood so it had very little twist and very little dip or anything to it. For this very reason, I wanted to have a nice flat surface for these types of things. Unfortunately, I lost some of the video that shows putting the roll bar in place on the airframe itself, and also painting, and you'll see here in a minute. But it's a fairly simple process. You just, as you're putting it onto the mounting locations there, you have to kind of be careful of those metal straps that are holding the inner and outer ridge together. You kind of have to push those out so they sit over the mounting pieces correctly. And that's, you see that support structure there. That's what I was talking about. It rivets on the top of the roll cage, and that's where those 6 holes will matter. And then here it's just riveting to the baggage compartment rear wall. And that's where I'm going to leave this one off. Again, for those who continue to watch these videos, I appreciate it. And those that are new to the channel, welcome. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below. I always enjoy interacting with those who watch these videos and getting a chance to learn a thing or two. So with that, we'll see you next time.